all you need to know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business. Good morning and thanks for listening in. This is the daily morning update from Bloomberg Quint and I'm Alex Matthew. Today's the 15th of July. Here's everything that you need to know. Cases of the novel coronavirus are rising at their highest rate yet. In the 24 hours to 8 a.m. yesterday, another 28,500 cases were added in India, taking the total to more than 8 lakh. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has said that COVID-19 probably won't disappear in the coming months, and it's unrealistic to expect that a perfect vaccine will become available to everyone immediately. Confirmed cases worldwide have now exceeded 13 million. In politics, the Congress party yesterday sacked Sachin Pilot from his posts as Rajasthan's Deputy Chief Minister and State Unit Chief. The party also removed his loyalists Vishwendra Singh and Ramesh Meena from the state cabinet. None of them were expelled from the party though, at least not yet. I'll bring you more updates as and when we get them. Meanwhile, there'll be a lot of attention today on the Reliance Industries annual general meeting. When Chairman Mukesh Ambani rises to address shareholders, he will have met most of the promises that he made last year. In fact, there could well be another investor in Jio Platforms. In case you missed it, Bloomberg has reported that Google is in advanced talks to buy $4 billion of stake in the company. The deal spree will help Reliance Industries become net debt-free. We've got a story up on the website bloombergquint.com in case you're interested in finding out what to expect from the AGM. In news on the economy, India's wholesale prices contracted for the third straight month, though at a slower pace, as prices of food and manufactured articles rose. The wholesale price index fell 1.81% in June on an annual basis, compared with a decline of 3.21% in May, according to a media statement by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. A Bloomberg poll of 18 economists had pegged a 2.4% fall. Remember, this data comes just a day after retail inflation spiked to 6.09%. In other news, the Bombay High Court has ruled that the Ministry of Home Affairs order dated the 29th of March, which directed employers to make full payment of wages without any deduction, won't apply to workers engaged in an industrial dispute. It will cover only those workers who were in employment on the day of the lockdown and had received salary for the In other news, the Bombay High Court has ruled that the Ministry of Home Affairs order dated the 29th of March, which directed employers to make full payment of wages without any deduction, won't apply to workers engaged in an industrial dispute. It will cover only those workers who were in employment on the day of the lockdown and who had received salary for the previous month. In news in the e-commerce space, Flipkart Group has raised $1.2 billion in fresh funds from majority owner Walmart and other existing investors as the online retail battle intensifies amid the pandemic. The investment led by Walmart values Flipkart Group at $24.9 billion, according to a company statement. Money will come in 2 tranches over the remainder of the fiscal ending March. In international news, President Donald Trump has said that he issued an order to end Hong Kong's special status with the US and also signed a legislation that would sanction Chinese officials responsible for cracking down on political dissent in Hong Kong. And fears of a Hong Kong brain drain are increasing after China moved to tax its citizens' global income, undermining the financial hub's appeal to thousands of bankers and other white-collar workers from the mainland. That's according to a Bloomberg report. In international markets, US stocks climbed once again, with the Dow gaining as much as 550 points. And that bounce is bringing cheer to the markets in the Asia-Pacific region too. All 3 early rises this morning were positive. And with that, it's over to Agam Vakil for the trade setup for the day in India. Good morning, Agam. How are we looking today?
Good morning, Alex, and good morning, listeners. Well, after the weakness that we saw yesterday, we could see some amount of recovery in opening trade today, considering the SGX Nifty futures is trending higher by around 80 odd points. Of course, Asia is also open with some amount of strength. So, well, fingers crossed for those who are long in the markets today. But very quickly, let's go on to stocks and news. And right at the top, we have Wipro, which announced earnings ahead of expectations. So, revenues did decline around 5.3% in rupee terms, but its margins expanded sequentially to 17.2% versus 16.1%. This was against expectations of margins remaining flat. Now, the reason why we are seeing margins expand is lower employee benefits, which came off 6% quarter on quarter, as well as the rupee depreciation against the US dollar. And of course, the CFO has also mentioned operational improvements. Do remember the new MD and CEO Thierry Delaporte took over Wipro from this quarter. Moving on, Yes Bank's follow-on public offer will open for subscription today. It's made an anchor allotment at 12 rupees per share, which is at the lower end of the price band. This, of course, is subject to change upon determination of the offer price, and the board has approved allotment to 14 anchor investors. Some of these include HDFC Life Insurance, Amansa Holding, Hinduja Leyland Finance, among many others. Do remember that the board will meet on or after July 18th for the purpose of determining the offer price and the anchor investor offer price, which can be changed at this point. State Bank of India's shareholders have also given a nod to raise 20,000 crores by way of follow-on public offer private placement, including QIP or any other means thereof. Emami is also in focus, where the group has completed the sale of Emami Cement Nuvoco at an enterprise value of 5,500 crores. And this certainly will be a big boost to the entire group. Moving on to more earnings, we have Delta Corp, where we've seen a lot of weakness, naturally because they did not see any revenues reported from gaming and hospitality operations. The company saw a drop of 74% in terms of revenues, and it also made an EBITDA loss of 33 crores versus an EBITDA gain of 68 crores. From the realty space, Oberoi Realty announced its earnings for the fourth quarter of FY20 as well as the first quarter of FY21. I'm going to talk about the first quarter of FY21, where we saw a drop of around 80% in revenue, and net profit also declined 81%. In terms of earnings today, some very, very crucial ones from the information technology space. After Wipro yesterday, we will have Infosys and L&T Infotech announce earnings today. And from the banking space, we are watching out for Bandhan Bank and Federal Bank. And in the primary markets, Rossari Biotech gets about 3 times demand for its shares offered in its initial public offer. Do remember the offer closes today. So today is the last day of subscription. And finally, perhaps the event of the day. Reliance Industries will hold its annual general meeting today. We watch out for plans and updates on consolidation in Jio platforms, expansion of Jio Fiber, monetization of the group's assets, and of course an update on oils to chemicals business. Now, these are just some of the stocks we can watch out for as we move into trade today. But don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know only on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Agam. And as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Pesa Vesa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma. Or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.